Hey guys, it's me. It's Queen Offset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you have time, please pass this video on to everybody, whoever you think may enjoy it. And drop us a positive comment in the comment section and give this video a thumbs up. Every thumbs up helps tremendously, okay? So today, first and foremost, I want to say it is March 9th. So there's a full moon that already started. The full moon's already started. Mercury will go direct at 11:49 Eastern. So these are both great things. For anybody who had any kind of experiences during the retrograde, this means that things are going to start to get back to normal now. Usually when they go direct, a lot of us feel the effects even before it goes direct, and some of us, it lasts a little bit longer into the shadow period. The period after Mercury goes direct is the shadow period, or before Mercury goes retrograde. It's like a little window period. We call it the incubation period if you were doing medicine. So there's an incubation period before and after the retrograde. So some people still feel effects about a week or so after Mercury has gone direct. Personally, I don't usually have that problem. I usually feel it before it goes retrograde. And then by the time it's direct, it's slowing down. I think everybody experiences that aspect of it a little bit differently. So I wanted to tell you guys some things that happened during the retrograde. Now, during the retrograde, one of the things they always say is that communication is more difficult than usual. And of course, as an Aquarius, I already have to be careful with communication. Some of the times our communication can be a little blunt. It can be a little crass even, depending upon who the person is. So I was in a chat room, and I have a tendency to frequent chat rooms because I love the conversations, and I use a lot of the stuff that I hear for Asking Aquarius, actually. So it gives me really good content. These chat rooms be popping, man. So this woman came into the lesbian chat room, and I don't know how old she is. She seemed like she was young to me based on her responses, but she made a statement, and I was multitasking and I wasn't being conscious. I'm a grown woman, I can admit that. I was not being conscious, because if I had been being conscious, I would have been being a lot more compassionate, and I wasn't even paying attention. I was multitasking ineffectively, and she made a statement. I responded to it, and she snapped. She snapped, and I had to block her. But it is what it is, right? I overused that block button. Oh, you want to get nasty? Boop. So anyway, this is what made her snap. Now, her snapping was my fault, because I should not have said anything. Oh my God, Aquarius, sometimes things just don't need to be said, and that's the thing I'm probably getting ready to say. So in that particular case, it was my bad that I said anything at all. I was correct about what I said to her, because I've been there before, but I was just wrong for saying it. Number one, I've learned on the internet, most people are not going to receive it well, so I should have just kept it to myself, you know? But I wasn't paying attention, and I was under the impression we were having an intellectual conversation, but she was very much emotionally invested in the conversation, which I didn't realize until I got into the conversation. Now, had I been paying attention, I would have peeped that from back deep, but I wasn't. When you're dealing with other people, you have to be conscious. You got to pay attention. You got to focus, even if it's just on the internet. But I was multitasking. So this is the statement that she made. Let me explain a little bit more about why this was problematic. She said that our relationships are prisons. She said all of our relationships, romantic and otherwise, even our family members, are prisons. She said we are imprisoned by other people's expectations, quote, end quote. So I was like, what the fuck kind of fucked up life do you have? Like, that's what came to my mind immediately. That's not what I typed though. I just typed like, that's only when you allow their expectations to imprison you. And of course, I'm thinking intellectually, she's probably in this situation because her answers came back very venomous. Like, this is the situation that she's in. Even Ray Charles could see that. So basically, she feels imprisoned by other people's expectations of her, her family and whoever. And she feels like this is natural. This is a natural part of just being a human being. And I beg to differ. And that's where the clash came in. Because I think that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. Yes, you do have people's expectations. Yes, people do expect things from you, from your family, your friends, your children. Everybody expects from you. Your friends expect you to be there when they need you. Your spouse expects you to have their back. Your kids expect you to take care of them. Your parents expect you to make them proud. Everybody has expectations. Your boss expects you to work like a fucking dog with very little appreciation and still make it happen with a smile on your face. Everybody does have expectations of you. I agree with that part. The part I don't agree with is that you have to bend to them. You don't have to live in a prison of other people's expectations unless that's what you choose to do. Let me give you an example. Many of us come into this kind of vibration with our families. I knew a woman once upon a time who was an Indian from India, not a Native American that Columbus mislabeled, but an Indian from India. Her family in India, her mother and father, knew another family. They knew them for a long time, from what I understand. And apparently they had a son that was her age. He was in New York doing family business, running one of the family's businesses, and she was in Philadelphia in school. They decided that the two of them should get married. She was only 23 years old. And she didn't want to get married. She was crying. She was going to the school counselor. I got this story from her roommate because me and her roommate are still to this day tight. So she was telling me how she was crying and she was upset about it and she didn't think it was fair. It was archaic. It was this, it was that. The girl was going off. Now, mind you, this lasted for 2 semesters. So I got to hear this story a lot. There's 2 semesters and this school is like 6 months. So I got to hear a lot about this story, and she was so dead set against marrying this gentleman. But her family's expectations were clear. She was going to marry him, or I don't think they told her they would disown her, because I never heard the girl say my parents said that. But she felt like, and that's a pressure in itself, they may disown her. So she finally decided at the end of this 6 months that she would marry him. She figured that he was a rich man, number one. And number two, she could do a lot worse. She even said to my friend, I never had a boyfriend. And she was like, I could do a lot worse. I've seen other females on campus get their hearts broken, get pregnant, all kind of stuff happen. And she was like, I could do a lot worse than this nice guy that my mom is trying to hook me up with. So she decided to marry him. She did marry him, flew to India, had this big, beautiful wedding, and then they both came back. She finished school, and then she moved with him to upstate New York. So the last I heard of the situation, which was like about 3 years ago, they were still happily married and had produced a couple kids. So in this case, the expectation was clear, and out of fear, she decided to bend to it. And it just so happened to work out. They got to know each other. She thought he was a very kind man, and the rest was history. So my thing is that she can bend to the expectation or not, but come up off this victim shit straight up. And you guys hear, I've said more curse words today than I ever do, because I was so irked by this, because I've been here. It's been my life. And I'm going to tell you my own story. My mother wanted me, and many of you have this situation going on too. Many of us, our parents knew what they wanted us to do with our lives before we were born. My mother had this expectation that I was going to grow up, get this amazing education, become a doctor or a lawyer, and make all this money and give most of it to her, and she could be so proud of her rich daughters. She wanted this for both of us. and my brother. She wanted all of us to go. My mother is a Capricorn. So to her, making money is the ultimate show of success. So she wanted us to grow up and make oogobs of money. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing. Making money is a good thing. You know, you need money, you need to buy things, you need to pay for things. But she never took into consideration, like a lot of parents do not, what you want. And they don't do it to hurt us. They don't do it, you know, in most cases to hurt us. In most cases, it's because they want the best for us. But they don't realize that their best, whatever's in their mind, they decided this is the best for you. Our parents have been grooming us since before kindergarten, in a lot of cases, to go into this profession that in their mind is what's best for us. They never think to themselves, what's best for, what is my daughter going to want? What is my son going to want? This is what I think is best for him, and it might be a damn good life, but they don't think about what we want. So we grow up with this expectation to live up to their dreams, and it's not fair. I didn't do that to my daughter because it was done to me. So this is the thing. So my mother, well-meaning, wanted me to grow up and make all this money and do this thing. And all my life till this day, she's still trying to get me to do it how she wants to do it. If I get rich on my own, if I get rich because of something I made up, then that's not good enough. I got to get rich for doing what she told me to do. Now, 9 times out of 10, if it's enough money, she'll get past that, Capricorn. But other than that, I need to do it the way she wants me to do it, the traditional way, the right way, you know? So it's that same vibration. And until this day, she's still on my ass about doing things the way she wants me to do them. So what do? I haven't bent to her expectations since I was like 15. I do what I want. I do whatever it is that I want to do, and I got over trying to impress her. I got over trying to win her approval, because that's what leads you to these places of imprisonment by somebody else's expectations. Look here, if you want to bend to people's expectations and play the victim, go right ahead, but at least be honest about what's happening. Be honest that you're allowing these people to imprison you. Because the bottom line is that if they're your family, they're your friends, they're your lovers, your kids, whatever, if they are so awful to you, maybe you need to rethink those relationships. Maybe you need to rethink where you live at. Your family can't burden you and imprison you with their expectations if you're not around. You know, maybe you need to go do some Peace Corps time in Australia. You know, maybe you need to go do something or go be somewhere else. You're allowing these people to do this to you. You're allowing yourself to be in prison and then bitching at me because I pointed out. Now, I was wrong for pointing it out. I'll give her that all day. I was thinking about that after it happened. I was like, why did you say that? I was sitting there like Aquarius. Why did you say that? And it was because I've been there, and it bugged me so bad for another person to allow themselves to be imprisoned by other people, to the point where you're in the chat room making it sound like that's just life. That's just how it is. I just have to accept this. That's just sociology, she told me. Yeah, it is sociology, but accepting it is not. Accepting it is a choice. When I was very, very young, I had a good friend, and I'll tell you this story, then we're out of here. I had a good friend who used to live with her aunt. Her aunt took her in because her mom wasn't the best parent. Her aunt took her in and let her stay with her and raised her the rest of the way. I think she was like 10 or 11 when she went to her aunt's. Now, she felt very indebted to her aunt because she took her in, took good care of her, you know, helped her along her way, took her out of a bad situation. So she felt like she owed her a debt of gratitude. And her aunt played that shit until she was like 19 years old. She would get her to do anything and everything whenever she wanted her to do it. So by the time she was 19, you can imagine she was tired of it, but she was still doing it. And I said to her one day, I said, I know you owe her a debt of gratitude. I know that you love her. I know that she had your back, but you don't owe her your whole life because of it. You honor your parents, you honor your guardians, you honor your caregivers, but you don't have to give them your life. This is not their life to live vicariously through you. This is your life to live. This is your legacy. This is what you're leaving on this planet. And we had a couple talks about it, and she finally got fed up because her aunt had her traveling 2 hours to help her do some papers. She was like delivering newspapers. So she had her traveling 2 hours every Sunday to get to her to help her Monday morning, and I think throughout the rest of the week, with delivering these papers. And finally, my friend was just like, I'm not doing this no more. They had a big fight and her aunt was pissed at her, and I don't think they ever really had the same relationship that they had, but she finally just had to realize, I'm grown and I can't keep on allowing you to lead me around by the nose. So my point in this video is for those of you who are out there and you truly feel imprisoned by your family and your relationships, your children, your spouse, whoever, your boyfriend, you have to rethink those relationships and how you're showing up in them. You have to rethink your boundaries. You need to go to therapy, especially if you've accepted this and you're letting them do this, because I bet some of you are miserable. So I just want to put that out there to you guys, because I've been there. A lot of us, a lot of people said to me this was a rite of passage for them, figuring out where to separate their parents' lives and their lives, figuring out how to show up in a romantic relationship and still have some of your own self. How many times have you got with somebody and lost yourself, and then y'all broke up and you don't even know what you like to do anymore? These are times when you've let other people's expectations take away from what you want for yourself. And what I was trying to say that didn't come off well was that you don't have to do that. That you shouldn't do that to yourself. So, time for me to go. I'm going to see you guys later. Take care.